I'm going to talk about Feed the Cats as something that that started out as a track sprint program that is now kind of bled into the football world. And I'm very proud of it. There's dozens of high schools that are doing it and a few colleges. And the whole thing about Feed the Cats started in 1999. Basically, I wanted to get the best athletes out for track, and I was having a hard time doing it, even though we were fairly successful. But basically, I had to admit, first of all, that track sucked. And then I had to attract cats to my program. And by cats, I'm talking about fast twitch athletes. And what I've learned about cats are the true cats of the world love to compete. They're your best competitors. They're people that you really need if you're going to win in a high performance sport, but cats hate to run. So I basically did away with running at track practice. All we do is sprint, jump, and recover, a very essentialist plan. Now in football, I think this is from The Art of War. I think there's 3 ways to win war, and that's through power, speed, and misdirection. I think the typical football program does 2 of these 3 things well. They covet the 3rd thing, speed, but they do nothing to maintain or improve speed. And that's really where I'm going with my talk today, is that misdirection is what all you guys were talking about for the last half hour, all the scheming and placement and pass routes and blah, blah, blah. Power, of course, is the weight room, the church of football. Speed is something that everybody wants, and then they don't do anything about it. One of the problems is you have Neanderthals like this running the football world, and there is no way this guy ever won a race in his life. Now, sure, Oregon's still going to be fast, but they're fast because they recruit speed. This guy does absolutely nothing to improve or maintain it. This guy plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. He ran the hurdles for my son, Alec, down at Edwardsville High School. And he played at Minnesota for a couple years and then at SIU. But he came back this spring and was talking to one of Alec's track athletes, and he had some advice for him. He said, first of all, the best advice that I can give you is don't let them take away your speed. As soon as you get there, they're going to try to pack on the weight and make you live in the weight room. And that's what he did. And this is really sad. Here, an NFL defensive back, and he says, I have never been as fast as I was in high school. I think this is an indictment of all football, high school, college, professional, that we take kids that are really fast, we recruit them, and then we do nothing about it. Once in a while, you'll see something like this. Minnesota State does not produce NFL players, but they had a good receiver one time who said that the only way he was going to get noticed is if he worked on nothing but speed until he could run a 4.45. He did, and the rest is history. So how do you train a cat? You got to sprint as fast as possible. Let me stop it right there. Sprinting is when you're spiked up, you're getting timed, you're recording the time, you're ranking the time, and you're publishing the time. If you're not doing those 5 things, then you're just running. Sprinting must have all 5 of those factors. People say, well, why would we get like track spikes on? We don't play on a track. Well, you want to be as fast as you can possibly be in your sprint training. As often as possible for highly skilled athletes, that's 3 days a week. As fresh as possible, that means you can only train sprinting and speed when you are fresh. There's only 3 surefire ways to increase speed. That is sprint mechanics, max speed sprinting, and jumping. The thing that's obviously missing there is the weight room. Everybody that lives in a weight room wants to tell me how cleans and snatches make you faster. And there's nothing in the weight room that I could go in and say, give me your 4 best whatevers. And they're going to be on my 4x1. If I did that, we'd be last place in the state every year. There's no lift that directly coincides or is a KPI for speed. In Southern Illinois, we used to say, you don't plant beans and grow corn. I'm not saying that you shouldn't lift. You know, God knows all football players have to lift, body armor, collision sport, all those things. But anybody who thinks that this guy is going to get fast by doing what he's doing is flat 100% wrong. Another thing that in a Feed the Cats program that's really, really hard for football coaches to grasp, and that is you need to stop doing mindless conditioning. If you want to know more about this, I wrote an article that is, I believe is the #1 article on the Track Football Consortium page. You just type in mindless conditioning, Tony Holler, you'll find it. But anyway, all 7 of my football articles are linked at the bottom of this article. So why should you not condition? Well, first of all, it makes you tired, and tired is the enemy of speed. Secondly, conditioning makes you slow. You have to remember that fast players are fast in the fourth quarter. If I run a 4.5 and you run a 4.8, there's no amount of conditioning that's going to make you faster than me in the fourth quarter, period. Speed reserve, that means the faster my max speed, the faster my submax. So I can be tired and still beat you because I'm faster than you are. Alactic specificity. When you train for speed, you are training for 5-second reps with about a 30-second rest. And when you do that, you are being very specific to the sport of football. A high school football player, or maybe even a college football player that plays one way, plays 5 minutes of football in a game. 5 minutes. So the idea that you're going to run guys 30 minutes of stadium stairs is beyond stupid. And this is the Willie Taggart clause here. When he threw his team under the bus for cramping up after the first game because they weren't drinking enough water like he told them to or something. Muscle cramps have nothing to do with Gatorade, bananas, pickled juice, or conditioning. Muscle cramps are because you have practiced in a moderate third gear type of manner all for the entire preseason. No matter how hot it was, you never cramped. And then you got into a game and went 5th gear. That's what causes cramps. So you need to practice fast and stop conditioning. We want to get to the line 80% in shape and 100% healthy rather than the other way around. I think many football programs, if not most, this is the other way around. I've learned when I really condition myself hard, I feel myself getting slower. This is not strange to me at all, but McCaffrey said this, and of course, Brian Kula is a friend of mine, and he's his trainer, and they didn't do anything for more than 5 seconds ever, did 0 conditioning during the entire offseason last year. Another friend of mine, Vince Anderson, one of the best track coaches to ever live, he said the lowest intensity work you do should still look like performance. If it doesn't, it will have a detraining effect. Not only will you not increase your speed, you will literally decrease your speed. And just because you have thoroughbred athletes that you can work their ass off and they can take it, does not mean you should work their ass off. Generic, non-specific conditioning will get you beat by generic, non-specific. Picture stadium stairs or doing laps or 16 times 110 or all the dumb things that so many programs do.